everybody to another exciting episode of Sports Central, or as Keith Olbermann would say, welcome to the big show. I'm your host, of course, Andrew Mackey, and before I get started, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to one of my newest viewers, Castle volleyball coach Daniel Watson. Now, Daniel was telling me last weekend that he stumbled across this video, and he said he's going to keep tuning in each week. So, Coach Watson, sit back, pop open an ice-cold Durst soda, and enjoy. I'm going to kick off the recap this week with Coach Watson's Castle Knights volleyball team. Over the weekend, they won the Castle Invitational, which was obviously hosted by the Castle Knights at Castle. The Lady Knights beat Bosse, Tecumseh, and Memorial in straight sets each to claim the tournament title. And it is the first year in Watson's 3 years as head coach that they've won the tournament. So despite, although Coach Watson's led the Knights to 2 sectional titles in his first 2 years, he had failed to win that invitational. So a little bit of weight off Coach Watson's shoulders to finally lock up that win. The Tecumseh Braves volleyball team also played in the Castle Invitational and took second place. Their lone loss was obviously to the Knights, but they beat Bosse and Memorial in straight sets to take second place. And on the other volleyball action around the county, the Boonville Pioneers finished second place in their own round-robin tournament. Their lone loss coming to Heritage Hills, who ended up winning. So, not an ideal finish for the Pioneers, taking second in their own round-robin, but they bounced back with a win last night over Memorial. The Lady Pioneers knocked off the Tigers in 4 sets. It's going to be a tough Friday of football for all 3 Warwick County teams this week. All 3 are on the road, and all 3 are facing ranked teams in the state of Indiana. The closest team to home this week is the Castle Knights. They're traveling west to the west side of Evansville to face the Evansville Reitz Panthers. Reitz is 10th ranked in Class 4A, and they're 1-1, and they are fresh off a 47-27 loss to one of the Kentucky football powerhouses, Louisville Central. And the big headline this week for the Knights is they get their starting quarterback Mitch Gillis back from suspension. He was suspended for the first 2 games. So this will be his first game back facing a very tough SIAC rival. So I'm sure Coach Hurt and his staff and team is excited to get Gillis back, who was one of the top quarterbacks in the state last year. But not having Gillis didn't hurt the Knights last week. They pitched a 26-0 shutout against New Albany to go to 2-0 on the year. Boonville Pioneers travel up north to Jasper on Friday to face the Wildcats. Jasper's 9th ranked in 4A, and they are undefeated. They're 2-0. They've got wins over Southridge and Evansville Memorial. And the Boonville Pioneers are coming off a tough 23-20 loss to Vincennes, their first of the year, so they are now 1-1. And this is going to be a tough matchup for the Pioneers. They have not beaten Jasper since 2003, and the Pioneers this year have really struggled stopping the run. They've given up 578 yards rushing in their first 2 games, 228 to Washington, but they ended up pulling out that game 20-3. And then last week they gave up 350 to Vincennes Lincoln in that loss. And Jasper is a very run-heavy team led by running back Cole Shermershine. And the Wildcats are also tough on defense. They have the 6th best defense in Class 4A so far this year. So it's going to be pretty tough for Coach Blankenship and the Pioneers. Arguably the toughest matchup on Friday for Warwick County teams is the Tecumseh Braves. They travel north on 41 up to Farmersburg to face the North Central Thunderbirds. The Thunderbirds are 5th in Class 1A, and they're undefeated 2-0 with blowout wins over both Union Duggar and North Davies. North Central smoked North Davies last week 42-18. And if you remember, the Cougars are the team that beat out Tecumseh in the last minute, 34-28 in week 1. And Tecumseh is coming off their first win, though, a 48-6 rout of rival Wood Memorial. So they should have some confidence going into this matchup. But North Central beat them last year 62-12. And the Thunderbirds are the 4th highest scoring team in 1A. They're averaging 51 points a contest. So 3 tough matchups for the Warwick County teams. It's going to be an interesting Friday night to see if they can pull out wins in their toughest matchups of the year. In other sports action this weekend, the Castle Boys soccer team is playing in the Indiana-Kentucky Challenge. They play 3 games, 1 Friday night and 2 on Saturday, and they're all at home, so that should help out the Knights as they face 3 pretty tough teams from Kentucky. The Castle Girls soccer team also plays multiple games this week. They play in the Hoosier Cup in Bloomington. That's always featuring some of the best teams in Indiana. And I think each team plays 2 or 3 games, so it's going to be a busy weekend for both the Castle soccer teams. And in volleyball action, both Boonville and Castle are at the Providence Invitational over near New Albany. So that wraps up this episode of Sports Central. Thanks for tuning in as always, and make sure you check it out next Wednesday.